and welcome to IoT Marketing Live. I'm Tiffany Nielsen, and with me is my amazing co host, the CEO and founder of IoT Marketing himself, Mr. Johannes Beekman. How are you doing today, Johannes?
I'm doing great, Tiffany. How's your day going?
Amazing. And as many of you know, we are busy preparing for our Green Things Summit coming up on April 25th. But not to worry, it is not too late for you to attend or participate. The virtual event will offer an incredible lineup of speakers discussing the many ways advanced technologies such as IoT, AI, and actually AIoT are used for green initiatives, as well as many other technologies and discussion points. The event will feature opportunities for learning and networking, and we do still have free early bird tickets available. So get yours now at iotmktg.com. Johannes, anything to add about our upcoming Green Things Summit?
Well, first of all, we have an exciting program lined up for the year 2024, Tiffany, and the Green Tech Summit is the first of the three summits scheduled for this year. Last year, Green Tech Summit was amazing with a long list of international speakers, and this year we're building on success of Green Tech Summit 2023. And as you mentioned, there's still early bird tickets available, so register now, get your tickets, attend, and get your certificate.
Yes, you even get a certificate. So be sure to get that early bird pass, and that's something else you can add to your resume, your LinkedIn, whatever you like. And our first story comes to us from Hackaday with news of a giga sunset for gigaset IoT devices. Another company in the smart device business that has shuttered their servers, leaving devices completely inert. The gigaset servers were shuttered on the 29th of March, and the official announcement states that there is no easy way out. It appears that the devices were locked into Gigaset Cloud to perform their function with no local only option. This leaves all open source integrations in the dust. Whatever documentation there was is now taken down. As the announcement states, Gigaset Communications GmbH has got acquired due to its insolvency, and the buyer was not remotely interested in the smart home portion of the business. As the corporate traditions follow, we can't expect open sourcing of the code or protocol specification or anything of the sort. The devices are simply bricks until someone takes care of them. Johannes, what are your thoughts on this Giga Sunset for Gigaset?
Well, the two sides of the story, and let me tell you a little bit about the bankruptcy of Gigaset. So here in the US, we've been experiencing a booming economy for the past 3 consecutive years, Tiffany, and the economy added another 303,000 jobs in March. Situation in Europe, and Gigaset is a German company, is different. So the Eurozone experienced a growth of approximately 1.3% last year, and for the next 5 years. It's expected to remain within the 1.3 to 1.5% growth range. Moreover, the German economy faced a shallow recession last year, and one thing that you need to know, when Europe encounters either a shallow growth or recession, the first reaction that's observed every time is something called consumer strike. Consumers refrain from purchasing anything beyond the absolute essentials. And this seems to have caused Gigaset's downfall because looking back at the numbers, they had a healthy revenue of 57 million euros in Q1 of 2023, and then they declared bankruptcy in September of 2023. And they specifically mentioned that between those two dates, the sales had basically collapsed. So this is one side of the story, but I do want to also highlight the other side of the story and answer the question, okay, so what can you do as a customer? Are you totally at the mercy of the new owners? Now, when a company such as Gigaset declares bankruptcy and ceases to support its products, customers are always in a difficult situation, particularly if they have recently purchased products or rely on ongoing support for devices such as IoT devices. The legal options depend on several factors, including local laws, local jurisdiction, and also the type of bankruptcy filed by the company and the specific circumstance of the purchase of Gigaset. Now, there are some general avenues that you could explore, and I'm advising companies that are in a situation to look into this, and I'll keep it brief. Um, there's something called warranty claim. I mean, even if the company's bought out, they still have to, if they promise warranty, they still have to give warranty, and that's something that you can pursue. Uh, Now, the second thing is bankruptcy claims. In some bankruptcy proceedings, there is a process for creditors to file claims under the bankrupt unity. Then there are customer protection agencies. Depending on the jurisdiction, there may be customer protection agencies that can offer advice or assistance. Anyway, legal advice is always uh, preferred because considering complexity of bankruptcy and law and consumer rights, always consult with a lawyer who specializes in consumer protection or bankruptcy, which is highly advisable. And then, of course, here in the US, we see that all the time, the class action lawsuit. Again, this depends on jurisdiction, and it may be different in Europe. So bankruptcies are always messy. As you already mentioned, Tiffany, this is even a more complicated situation because it looks like they've really have been shuttered. But as a buyer, there are avenues that you should um, explore to either to get your product back, because otherwise you have to just simply write them down and start all over again.
Thank you, Johannes. And our next story is provided by RCR Wireless, as Swisscom is to acquire Vodafone Italia and merge it with Fastweb, which is Swisscom's subsidiary in Italy. Swiss carrier Swisscom confirmed it has entered into a binding agreement with UK carrier Vodafone Group for the acquisition of 100% of Vodafone Italia for European $8 billion on a debt and cash-free basis. The combination of Fastweb's end-to-end managed wireline network and Vodafone's 5G-based fixed wireless access will enable the creation of a converged carrier in the domestic market. The increased scale and more efficient cost structure and significant annual run rate synergies will enable the combined entity to unlock significant value for stakeholders and offer innovative converged services, the Swiss telco said. Swisscom noted that the transaction is a key step for the company to achieve its strategic objective of profitable growth in Italy. Through this transaction, Swisscom reinforces its presence in the Italian market, where it has been operating since 2007, through Fastweb. The transaction remains subject to regulatory and other customary approvals, the Swiss carrier said, adding that the transaction is expected to be fully completed in the first quarter of 2025. Johannes, what are your thoughts on this merger?
Well, there is a consolidation happening in the European telco markets, Tiffany. And this story, we see two major developments. The first is, as you mentioned, Swisscom's acquisition of Vodafone Italy, which it plans to merge with its Italian subsidiary Fastweb. This move aims to create a major player in the Italian market. More specifically, the Swisscom deal will establish Italy's second largest fixed line broadband operator. The second development involves Vodafone's withdrawal from first the Spanish market later last year, having sold a Spanish unit to Zegana in October last year. Now Vodafone is also exiting the Italian market. So I would say this is going to be continued. There's more consolidation, and we'll keep reporting if anything else is happening in the European telco market.
Thanks, Johannes. And we have shared news on IoT security in nearly every edition of IoT Marketing Live. So our next story should come as no surprise. In Compliance Mag reports, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, has warned several online retailers to stop the unlawful sale of non-secured IoT devices, such as video doorbells that are not compliant with FCC equipment authorization requirements. According to a press release issued by the FCC in March, FCC Commissioner Geoffrey Starks has sent letters to 5 online retailers requesting them to provide details on specific steps that they are currently taking to identify and cease the sale of non-secured IoT devices. The letters sent to Amazon, Walmart, Sears, Temu, and Shein also include an exhaustive list of questions specific to the retailer about their current practices to verify that the products sold on their website comply with all applicable FCC regulations. The letter sent by Starks to the five retailers reportedly follows recent reports in the Washington Post and Consumer Reports that the company's websites sell video doorbells that lack visible FCC ID and that are easily hacked. The letters require that the companies respond to the FCC's questions no later than March 22nd. So I guess we'll have to keep you updated on what happens next there. And the size of Shein, Johannes, I believe they are, don't quote me, but I believe they are third right now. The last time I checked, they are third in the world for largest online retailers. So huge story here. Are you surprised, Johannes, to hear this about the IoT security relating to these IoT devices sold by those retailers?
Also, Temu is a giant in this space, Tiffany. So no, I'm not surprised, but I'm glad. And what you're seeing here is that the FCC treats equipment compliance very seriously, Tiffany. And an FCC certification is definitely not a walk in the park. So, but manufacturers must have an FCC certification and take that very seriously. So the first thing a manufacturer will need to do is figure out which FCC regulations apply to the IoT devices they want to start selling in the US. And based on the story, it looks like that assessment hasn't been done or hasn't been completely done. But after that, they can then begin the compliance testing, which is always fun. Then there's this, which I also like to mention. So that's the normal FCC RF compliance testing or equipment compliance testing. But the FCC is also working on something else, which I'm pleased to see. There is an FCC fact sheet called Cybersecurity Labeling for Internet of Things. And the introduction of the fact sheet says, well, consumers rely on internet-connected products to help manage many aspects of day-to-day life, including home safety, health, recreation, and personal convenience. With this convenience, however, comes risk. Internet of Things products are susceptible to a wide range of relatively common security vulnerabilities that are increasingly exploited by cyber criminals who are invading people's privacy and threatening national security. Consumers who purchase an IoT product that bears an FCC label can be assured that their product meets the cybersecurity standards of the IoT labeling program, which in turn will strengthen the chain of connected IoT products in their own homes and as part of a larger national IoT ecosystem. Now, this document, and you can download it from the FCC website, is a 104-page framework for cybersecurity labeling that the FCC is working on. It's still being discussed. It's not the law of the land yet, but I'm not surprised that they are also working and trying to push this labeling. And I'm glad that the FCC is taking its responsibility very seriously.
Thank you, Johannes. And we continue to see AI playing an increasing role in decision making. Reuters reports the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted the first global resolution on artificial intelligence that encourages countries to safeguard human rights, protect personal data, and monitor AI for risks. The non-binding resolution proposed by the United States and co-sponsored by China and over 120 other nations also advocates the strengthening of privacy policies. Today, all 193 members of the United Nations General Assembly have spoken in one voice and together chosen to govern artificial intelligence rather than let it govern us. The U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, said. And the resolution is the latest in a series of initiatives by governments around the world to shape AI's development amid fears it could be used to disrupt democratic processes, turbocharge fraud, or lead to dramatic job losses and among other harms. Well, I guess we'll be talking about this more during our AI summit in July, Intelligent Thinking. Get your tickets now. But Johannes,
Sure.
your opinion, why is this story so important?
Well, this is important for several reasons, Tiffany. First, this was a unanimous agreement, as you mentioned. Second, the resolution is the latest in a series of initiatives by governments around the world to shape the development of AI. And third, it only took 4 months to negotiate this particular resolution. UN resolutions usually take forever to negotiate before they can be brought to the floor. So this is something that we can all agree on. We keep adding more regulations, and there's definitely a sense of urgency here. We are, to describe the landscape a little bit, we are literally at the beginning of the age of AI. We're just getting started, but let me take, and I'm not picking on OpenAI, but let me take their products as an example and show you the current quality and capability of AI. So Reuters article that came out recently mentions last month that Microsoft caught state-backed hackers using Microsoft-backed OpenAI software to hone their espionage skills. 2 weeks ago, as a second example, OpenAI reported that they had developed a voice engine which uses text input and a single 15-second audio sample to generate natural sounding speech that closely resembles the original speaker. However, as they mentioned, we recognize that generating speech that resembles people's voices has serious risks, which are especially top of mind in an election year. Therefore, they are hesitant to release voice engine in 2024. And on a personal note, working with AI models on a daily basis, you learn to recognize AI-generated content, be it text, graphic, and I'm sure voice will fall in the same category. And by the way, AI-generated content is already everywhere. But people who don't work with AI models on a daily basis will not be able to distinguish AI-generated content from human-generated content. And this is why UN regulations and government initiatives to regulate AI development are so important.
Thank you, Johannes. And our next story comes to us from Seeking Alpha, as Qualcomm has entered several promising markets adjacent to its core wireless business that could produce significant growth for years to come. These growth markets include mobile AI chips, advanced automotive technologies, the Internet of Things, or IoT, edge computing, generative AI, inferencing, server chips, and wearable technology. Qualcomm's management's philosophy for deciding to manufacture AI chips for the above applications is rooted in the idea that most AI inferencing today still occurs in the cloud. However, for AI to become truly useful and proliferate, AI data crunching will eventually need to happen on local devices for multiple reasons. Some of those reasons include latency, low power consumption, data privacy and security, reduced cost, and offline capability. According to the article, if you listen to enough commentary on AI from Qualcomm management, the term pervasive AI might pop up. And a pervasive AI world implies that businesses will embed AI technologies into everyday products and services. In this world, almost every service or product you use or interact with will have AI embedded in the core functionality. And we talked about pervasive IoT a way while back when I was working with GeoTrack. And Johannes, it seems like this is a lot like what we were seeing at CES, where they were saying AI everywhere. But what are your thoughts on Qualcomm's shift to incorporate AI into these new growth markets?
The global smartphone market has matured. AI, or more precisely Edge AI, is the next growth market. And TinyML is driving a lot of AI applications in wearables like SmartRing. However, we still have a lot of work to do if we want to build an LLM, or large language model, using TinyML and use the LLM in a wearable device. My second comment is that other semiconductor companies will come to the same conclusion, so expect to see announcements and presentations from other semiconductor companies about their AI vision and strategy.
Thank you, Johannes. And next, Intel is in line to receive up to $8.5 billion in grants from the U.S. federal government as part of the CHIPS Act, which was passed in 2022, and set aside $59 billion to bolster semiconductor manufacturing and research in the United States. According to RCR Wireless, Intel may be also awarded up to $11 billion dollars in loans, which will be able to claim federal tax credits that could cover as much as 25% of the expense of its expansion projects. The company expects to invest more than $100 billion dollars in the U.S. over the next 5 years, with particular expansions expected in Arizona, New Mexico, Ohio, and Oregon. Today is a defining moment for the US and Intel as we work to power the next great chapter of American semiconductor innovation, said Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger. AI is supercharging the digital revolution, and everything digital needs semiconductors. CHIPS Act support will help to ensure that Intel and the US stay at the forefront of the AI era as we build a resilient and sustainable semiconductor supply chain to power our nation's future, he said. Johannes, what are your insights on the $8.5 billion dollars in funding for Intel? Or
Well,
more?
first, first off, first off, this will be a story about big numbers, Tiffany, and you already mentioned that. But last month we mentioned that Intel was in discussions to secure more than 10 billion in CHIPS Act incentives. Bloomberg reported on March 20th that the US will award Intel 8.5 billion in grants and as much as 11 billion in loans to help fund expansion of its semiconductor factories. In addition, on April 5th, the Wall Street Journal reported that Samsung will ramp up its investment in Austin from an initial investment of 17 billion to 44 billion to create a manufacturing hub for advanced semiconductors. And like Intel is expected to receive billions in subsidies from the US government. And on April 8th, the White House announced that the Biden administration had reached a preliminary agreement with TSMC to build a third semiconductor factory in Phoenix. In return, TSMC would receive 6.6 billion in direct funding under the CHIPS and Science Act. With that additional third factory, the TSMC investment in Phoenix would end up to be $68 billion. So to be continued, Tiffany, I think there's more initiatives that will be announced in the next couple of, well, this year for sure.
Thanks, Johannes. And our last story ties in with our upcoming Green Things Summit, and it comes from Market Screamer. Wild Networks, in conjunction with Queensland-based PLF Australia, have begun monitoring soil moisture utilizing low Earth orbiting satellite connectivity. Satellite IoT in Australia utilizing low power connectivity is essential for optimizing land management. This process plays a crucial role in optimizing irrigation, maximizing yields, and improving biodiversity. Vast areas of agricultural land in Australia are remotely located and have no available networks to connect IoT sensors or devices. There is an immense demand for IoT connectivity from farmers and agronomists, and PLF Australia are deploying Wild solutions to deliver this accurate operational information to their customers to enable improved data-driven decision-making. Adopting IoT technology will help primary producers increase their yields, reduce costs, which in turn will lift profitability and improve the competitiveness of Australia to produce in international markets. Johannes, we've been talking about satellite IoT for quite some time now, and it takes quite a while for many concepts and use cases for IoT to become a reality. But what are your thoughts on this story?
Well, we've been discussing satellite IoT for well over a year now, Tiffany. And what I've noticed doing all the research is that Australia has always played an outsized role, giving its population of only 26 million people in LEO satellite coverage and satellite IoT deployment. Now, realizing that the continent of Australia is only 23% smaller than the US, and as you mentioned, considering that Australia is a major agricultural producer, it becomes clear that vast areas of agricultural land in Australia are remotely located. So for these kind of use cases, satellite IoT makes perfect sense. So this could very well be the killer application for satellite IoT, definitely in Australia, but who knows, also in the rest of the world.
Thanks, Johannes. And You can learn more about green technology initiatives by attending our Green Things Summit. And you don't want to miss this unique virtual event. So get your ticket now free at iotmktg.com. We still have a few speaking and sponsorship opportunities available, so you can contact us to learn more about becoming part of this impactful global event. And we also have our Intelligent Thinking AI Summit coming up on Thursday, July 18th. And we have our Summit of Things event coming up in October 22nd through the 24th. So plenty of opportunities for you to get involved in some of these incredible events that we're hosting. So please reach out to us if you'd like to be a part of these events. There's definitely room for people with valuable messages to share and solutions that can help our world that's going through ongoing challenges and could really use these connected solutions. Johannes, anything to add about our upcoming events?
Well, I'm really excited by the program that we've lined up for 2024, Tiffany. And the Green Tech Summit, Intelligent Thinking AI Summit, and some of the things are all amazing summits. We have a lot of interest from amazing speakers from all over the world and sponsors. These are 3 summits that you don't want to miss. So check them out, register, and let us know if you're interested in speaking or sponsoring.
Thanks, Johannes. And last but certainly not least, IoT also offers many marketing, PR, and production services to help you with everything from sales enablement. Maybe you need some help with connecting your CRM. Maybe you don't even have a CRM. Very important thing to have there if you're trying to do any kind of sales, especially in IoT where there's this long sales cycle. Let us help you speed it up and get the message that you have to the right people through our lead generation services, as well as participating in our events. Set up a call to learn more. We'd be happy to do a free brand analysis and see where you are with the way things are changing and evolving out there in the IoT landscape, and especially with all these new emerging technologies taking shape around us. It's definitely an evolving world. So we're happy to talk to you and see what we can do to help you succeed in the future. And Johannes, any final thoughts as we wrap things up?
No, I just want to mention that we've developed over the years an impressive platform through our monthly newsletters, newscasts, podcasts, as well as our annual summits and webinars. So reach out to us to get your message heard and let us equip you with and your brand with the necessary tools for success in our digital future.
Thank you, Johannes, and thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you at the Green Things Summit. Get your ticket now, iotmktg.com. Have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.